In this problem, we're given an algebraic expression and we are to divide and simplify. We are also told that you are to assume the variables represent non-zero quantities. This disclaimer is because in mathematics we do not define division by zero, and if our variable x was 0, we'd have division by 0. So with that aside, note that the 12 is being multiplied by x to the 5th and the 6 is being multiplied by x to the 4th. In this context, everything in this algebraic expression is a factor. Since everything's being multiplied, the 12, the x to the 5th, the 6, the x to the 4th, all four of those expressions are called factors, and with factors you can simplify them or often called cancel them. So the 12 divided by 6 is a separate issue. You would know that 12 divided by 6 is the same thing as the number 2. You may think of it as 6 goes into 12 two times, and 6 divides into 6 one time, leaving you with 2 over 1. So since 12 divided by 6 is 2, and you can think of it as 2 over 1, I'm going to take the 12 divided by 6 and simply rewrite it as a 2, but it would be in the numerator. So my answer will have a 2 in the numerator. If you want, you could put a 1 down here. Then the x to the 5th being divided by the x to the 4th, the exponent rule is to subtract the exponent in the expression in the numerator by the exponent in the expression in the denominator. So you probably were taught that x to the 5th divided by x to the 4th could be thought of as x to the 5 subtract 4. And then if you did that, we've taken care of the 12 divided by 6, and we've taken care of the x to the 5th over x to the 4th, so there's nothing left to do. So you could think of it as there's nothing left in the denominator except for the number 1. You could always think of there being a factor of 1 in the denominator if you need to think of it that way. So my answer would simply be 2, and then x raised to the 5 subtract 4, and 5 subtract 4 is 1. And in mathematics we tend not to write the exponent, so you could think of your final answer as just being 2x. As an aside, sometimes subtracting exponents is the best way to look at it because it's simple. 5 subtract 4 is 1 and you're done. Sometimes it's more helpful to think of it as x to the 5th means that you have 5 x's being multiplied together in the numerator, and then the x to the 4th in the denominator would mean that I have 4 x's being multiplied together. And since the x to the 4th is in the denominator, I will write my 4 x's being multiplied together in the denominator. Since all of these are factors, meaning everything is being multiplied in both the numerator and denominator, then these will simplify out, or what some people call as canceling. You may think of it as that x goes into x one time and x goes into this x one time, so x divided by x simplifies down to be 1 over 1. And if you repeated that, these two x's, this x and this x, simplify down to be the number 1, and then you could continue canceling as we go, and 4 of the x's in the numerator would cancel with 4 x's in the denominator. You may find that your teacher does not like you using the word cancel. We tend to prefer that you say they simplify, indicating that x divided by x is actually the number 1. So every time I said cancel, I'm really saying that x divided by x can simplify down to be the number 1. So since we did this 4 times, it's like we have 4 1s being multiplied in the numerator and 4 1s being multiplied together in the denominator. And when you repeatedly multiply by the number 1, you just get 1. So in short, since 4 x's in the numerator simplified out with 4 x's in the denominator, you'd have 1 left in the numerator. And that's how my final answer shows. I have 1 x left, and it is in the numerator of my answer. My denominator being 1, I won't even write it as a fraction. So in a more complicated problem, it may be more helpful to think of this as I have 5 of these objects multiplied in the numerator, and this means I have 4 of these objects, x in my case, multiplied together in my denominator. So 4 of them in the denominator will simplify out with 4 of them in the numerator. But since you have 5 in the numerator, when 4 simplify out, you'll have 1 left over.